Hi, this is Steve Lombardi, and this is your Legal Minute. I'm coming to you from the Lombardi Law Firm in West Des Moines, Iowa. Today we got a question and it has to do with falling asleep at the wheel. I've seen 2 or 3 cases over the last couple of months where somebody here in Iowa has simply fallen asleep at the wheel and then gone off and overturned the car. They either kill themselves or injure themselves or their passengers or somebody in the oncoming lane. The latest case came out of Grundy County and involved a car on Highway 20, 2 miles west of Dyke, and happened around 7:30 a.m. The Grundy County Sheriff's deputies say a 31-year-old, looks like a female, fell asleep behind the wheel. Investigators say she dropped off the right shoulder before the car rolled several times. The crash threw the passenger, who was a 43-year-old man, out of the car. Responders took both people to the Waterloo hospitals. So you might ask yourself, if I fall asleep at the wheel, am I excused from negligence, being found at fault? The answer to that is absolutely not. There's a lot of reasons why people simply fall asleep at the wheel, and I'll just use that figuratively, falling asleep at the wheel. It's not necessarily falling asleep at the wheel. It could be a medical problem that caused them to pass out, and that's not really falling asleep at the wheel. But let's talk about the issues of causation. That's really all I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to tell you whether or not you're going to be excused from being at fault will depend on the cause, the reasons why you fell asleep at the wheel. So, one is fatigue, and that's always an interesting one. Driving too long, driving too much, driving beyond your capabilities, knowing you're going to fall asleep and then falling asleep. Alcohol can induce somebody to fall asleep or, as I like to say, pass out. Then there is prescription drug induced, and those prescription drugs might be those that were legally prescribed by a physician, or they could be illegally used and not prescribed by a physician. There is also the side effects from improper education having to do with taking the medications improperly. There could be the combined effects of taking multiple drugs, then there is the employer expectations or the unrealistic schedule that forces the employer to drive beyond their physical and mental abilities, such as semi-truck drivers who have an unrealistic delivery schedule and are forced, pressured by their employer to do things that they shouldn't do, driving too long for too long a period of time without rest and forging their logbooks. And then there is the illegal dispensing of drugs that have nothing to do with prescription drugs, and people taking those. There are those where we've seen recently where pharmacists are themselves selling drugs, and that's illegal even though they're prescription drugs. They're not being legally prescribed. There is the situation of epilepsy. You can have an epileptic induced seizure, either petit or grand mal, and that's a problem. Then there is a medically induced blackout, which can be caused from various reasons. And then the last one I'll talk about is syncope caused by a heart problem. And when this happens, this is usually one of the few instances where the person is not going to be found at fault because they're having a heart event. Well, sorry about that, but I got a call. In any event, those are the causes. And this is Steve Lombardi, and this has been your Legal Minute. I'm coming to you from West Des Moines, Iowa. Have a good day.